What is up, YouTube? This is Concordia Jedi. I'm Asher. I'm here to give you my thoughts on Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. We're going to be going off script here. This is going to be just more me talking to you and you hopefully listening. All three of you. Anyway, I've had time to let the film sink in. And looking back on it, I still really enjoy the film. I think it's better than The Force Awakens, and I do like it better than Rogue One. It is not my favorite Star Wars film, and I do see more and more problems with the film the more I look back on it. But they are not major problems, in my opinion. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, before we get into this, I just want you guys to know this is all my opinion here. You don't have to hate the film, you don't have to love the film. You can formulate your own opinion, and you can let me know what you thought of the film in the comments. This is just my opinion. If we have debate in the comments, let's keep it civil. We're not little children, no name calling, alright? So, first, we'll start off with the plot of the film. The Last Jedi picks up right where The Force Awakens left off. We see the Resistance, led by General Organa, fleeing from the First Order, who is viciously pursuing them. Meanwhile, Rey heads to Ahch-To to bring Luke Skywalker, the jaded Jedi Master, back into the fight that he's been away from for so long, only to find out that Luke wants nothing to do with not only the fight, but the Jedi. Luke has come to this island to die, so that the Jedi Order can die with him. He truly is the last Jedi. On the other side of the battle, we have Kylo Ren, still recovering from his injuries sustained by Rey at the end of The Force Awakens. We see that the act of killing his father, Han Solo, has truly done damage to Kylo's soul and his psyche. Snoke points out to Kylo that he is no Vader, just a child in a mask. This leads Kylo down a path of resentment towards his master. So now that we've gone over the basic plot of the film, let's talk about what I liked and what I disliked. I really liked the direction they took with Luke Skywalker in this film. This is a huge point of contention among fans. Some are calling it great, some are calling it character assassination. I think it was very fitting, the direction they took with Luke, at least with what J.J. Abrams gave us. We know that Luke went into hiding because one of his students destroyed his entire Jedi Academy, and we see more into that in The Last Jedi. We see that not only did Luke find out that Snoke had already corrupted Kylo's heart, but he also briefly thought about killing Kylo in order to save the thousands of lives that would be lost as a result of Kylo turning to the dark side. And the good thing about that is he didn't. He's still Luke. He still would never kill one of his own family members. And the very act of thinking about it caused Luke to feel so much shame. And that brief moment was the key moment where Ben Solo killed everything that Luke had built up for 30 years. Luke's character has taken a turn, and I think it's for the better. He hasn't gone to the dark side, but he's also lost all of his faith in the Jedi and in himself. He's decided to go to the island where the Jedi first started and isolate himself there. He plans to die there and end the line of the Jedi. Now, I was kind of shocked when I first saw this because part of me was thinking, no, Luke would never say that. But as I really started to think about it, to Luke's knowledge, the Jedi are responsible for all the evil that has happened in the past. Anytime the Jedi show up, evil is sure to follow. And the good thing about this is that by the end of the film, Luke realizes, thanks to a little cameo from Yoda, that the Jedi are not only necessary, but the Jedi are good. He realizes that he can't be the last Jedi, and that Rey has to carry on the lineage after he's gone. And his death at the end of the film is not only fitting, but it's beautiful. I'm not going to act like I wasn't sad to see Luke go, but the imagery we see when he does go, him staring at the twin sunsets just like when his journey began, with John Williams' famous Binary Sunset playing, it was absolutely stupendous. The sad thing is, I know there's still so many people who are upset with how Luke was portrayed and how he died. And I can understand that. A lot of people were hoping for more action from Luke. I was too. I would have liked to see at least one last big lightsaber duel from Luke before he went. I think his death should have been saved for 9. But at the same time, with what we were given, I think it was very well done. And Luke, I don't think is totally gone. I think he will return in 9. And seeing what Yoda did as a Force Ghost, summoning lightning from the sky to strike the Jedi tree, it makes me very excited to see what Luke's going to do as a Force Ghost in 9. So moving on from Luke Skywalker, what else did I like about this film? I loved Adam Driver's performance as Kylo Ren. I think it was vastly superior to his performance in The Force Awakens, which I also thought was good, but a little too subdued. His performance in this film is phenomenal. There's so much raw anger and emotion emanating from Kylo Ren in this film. You can see that he's still hurting on the inside from killing his father. The deed, as Snoke said, split his soul to the bone. He is still so hurt, and he's still got that pull to the light, and yet he's trying so hard to suppress it. He's doing all these evil acts because he feels this is his destiny, this is his path. And when he finally kills off Supreme Leader Snoke at the end, it's so fitting that Kylo steps up to become the new Supreme Leader. A lot of people thought he was going to join Rey and go to the Resistance after killing Snoke. I was praying so hard that did not happen. I felt this is too soon to have Kylo go back to the light. He just killed his dad in the last one. It can't happen. And luckily, I was right. Kylo's still on the dark side, and he is now the Supreme Leader of the First Order. What I like about this is we've not yet seen the apprentice kill the Master to become the new leader in a film. We saw Vader kill the Emperor in Return of the Jedi, but Vader went back to the light side and died at the end. He didn't become the new Emperor. And that's what I liked seeing here. I like seeing the apprentice become the master and the leader. And his back and forth with Luke on Crate and his back and forth with Rey in this film were phenomenal. Adam Driver did a spectacular job in this film, and I am very happy with how it came out. So what else did I like in this film? I'm sorry. Carrie Fisher. This was Carrie Fisher's last performance before she sadly passed away back in 2016. And any Star Wars fan worth their salt was absolutely devastated when that happened. Carrie Fisher, to me, was one of the first actresses who proved to me that women can be badass in films. And I was very sad to see her go. It was one of the few celebrity deaths where I actually shed a tear or two. Or 3. But Carrie Fisher's performance in The Last Jedi was intentionally kept the way it was when it was shot. Rian Johnson could have edited it in any way, but he kept it as it was shot because he felt doing anything less would be an insult to the memory of Carrie Fisher. And it really paid off. Carrie Fisher's performance in this film is funny, it's emotional, it's powerful, it's got everything that a performance worthy of the character Leia is deserving of. And she has so many good lines in this film, so many scenes that, while controversial, will go down in history and be remembered. Her spacewalk scene in particular, where she pulls herself back to the ship, is very controversial right now, but I honestly think it was beautifully shot, and I think it was the right thing to do. This next one might be a bit unpopular, but I also really liked the character of the Master Codebreaker. No, not him. Yeah, him. The character, played to perfection by Benicio del Toro, hereto referred to as DJ, is a character that I find myself really liking for some reason. He doesn't have a lot to do. He's a bit of a MacGuffin in the film, but I don't know. I'm a big fan of Benicio del Toro's work outside of Star Wars, and I don't know. There's just something I find really funny about this guy. He's charming in a kind of really dirty, grungy way. He's kind of like the old town drunk in a way. You know he's not a really upstanding character, but he's still got that kind of charm that kind of draws you to him. I do wish he had been given more due because, like I said, I'm a big fan of Benicio del Toro. But for what we got, I thought it was very well done. Finally, I really enjoy the humor in this film. Granted, it gets kind of cheesy at certain parts, but over the past 40 plus years of Star Wars, we kind of come to expect that from time to time with its humor. It's not there to be the film. It's not a comedy series. The comedy in The Last Jedi provides a nice breakup from the very dramatic atmosphere of the rest of the film. A lot of the fans will say that either there was too much of it or it wasn't, it wasn't funny. And I can definitely see where a lot of those arguments come from. There's points in this film with the comedy where you feel, yeah, it's funny, but did you really need that? I mean, Luke getting the alien milk is funny, but did you really need to see that? I did. Anyway, moving on to what I didn't like about the film. And remember, we're just going over the big points in this film. I'm not going to nitpick every detail. If there's parts of the film that I left out that you either liked or didn't like, leave it down in the comments and we can discuss it. But now, on to the things that I didn't like. Let's start with the big one. Killing off Supreme Leader Snoke. I realized that this did a great job at pushing Kylo into the leadership spot, but I really don't think we saw enough of what Snoke can do. I understand why Rian Johnson did it and the whole thing with, we never knew the Emperor's past before he was killed in Return of the Jedi, but I really do think that, like Luke's death, Snoke should have been saved for 9. There was just, I think, so much potential, especially with a great voice actor and actor in general, like Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis has done some amazing work, like as Gollum and Caesar, but I really think he was kind of wasted here on the role of Snoke. Why bring him in if he's only going to be in the film for a collective 15 minutes at best? Now, I'm not saying I hated it, I am just a bit disappointed with how Snoke was killed off. Next, we have killing off Captain Phasma. I was really excited to see Phasma and Finn fight in this movie when I saw the trailers. I was thinking, okay, Phasma's gonna get her revenge for everything that Finn did in the last film. And while the fight was good, it was a bit short, and having Phasma die at the end, if she did die, that's still up in the air for a couple of other people. But honestly, you gave her so little to do in this film, and I think Phasma's character, especially with Gwendolyn Christie playing her, I think you could have given her so much more to do in this film. She could have been actively hunting Finn. Imagine seeing her, actively pursuing Finn for what he did to her. I think that would have been a lot better, and I think if you had killed her off in the end, you could have at least given her a bit more to do. That's my main grievance, is that she was underused in this film. Now on to my biggest complaint with the film. Rose Tico. I'm not going to act like she's the worst character in Star Wars. There have been plenty of worse characters, especially if you dive into EU. There are so many worse characters. I'm looking at you, Ken! Anyway, Kelly Marie Tran gives a decent performance as Rose, but it's not great. And the rest of the cast in this film seems like they're giving their all with this film. Even the characters who come off as a bit stilted seem like they're actually trying. And with Rose Tico, I can tell that Kelly Marie Tran is trying to give a good performance. She's trying to be convincing. But whereas she's trying to be convincing, actors like Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher are pretty much automatically convincing because of the history we've had with their characters. We're instantly sucked in when we see Luke Skywalker. We're instantly sucked in when we see Leia. But when we see a crying character that we're just being introduced to for the first time, it doesn't immediately suck us in. It requires a good performance. And in this regard, my main argument is that her performance is just okay. I think story-wise, she didn't do too much, even though I disagree with what a lot of people are saying, where she ruined Finn's heroic sacrifice. Here's the thing with that. The cannons had already pretty much busted through the door. Had Finn gone in and blown up that cannon by kamikazing it, the First Order still has several huge walkers that could easily take down the door now that it's weakened. And then the Resistance is killed, and Finn's sacrifice was for nothing. So I'm fine with her saving Finn at the end. I think her kiss with him was a little awkward, considering that Finn just looked at her like, what the hell was that? That came out of nowhere. Overall, I think her character was just okay. And for me, that's probably my biggest complaint with this film, is that Rose was just okay. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on The Last Jedi, at least the big main points. There's a lot in this film that I really enjoyed and some stuff that I didn't, but overall, I think the film was fantastic. Is it my favorite Star Wars film? No, that honor still goes to Return of the Jedi. And keep in mind, there is no Star Wars film that I don't love. There are definitely ones that I think are lesser and that are very close to me saying I don't like them, but it's Star Wars. Altogether, I am just a huge fan of Star Wars. I have been a fan ever since I was 4 years old. I really enjoy the films. I really like The Last Jedi. And if you guys didn't like it, that's fine. I love debate. That's one of the big reasons I'm on Facebook a lot. If you guys found something that you didn't like or that you liked and that I didn't, leave in the comments and I would love to debate you. I'm always happy to do that. I'm very active in the comments. Anyway, guys, that's the video. If you liked it, give it a like, comment, and subscribe, and may the Force be with you all.